top 10 fully evolved grass-type starter Pokemon. Number 10, Meganium. Meganium is a beautiful, awesome, cute, ride-or-die Pokemon. The fact that you can ride on him, like a horse, is always a plus. And his solar beam is always something to gaze upon. Being a wonderful healer and a very cute combatant. There are few words I can say to call this Pokemon bad, cause it ain't. Meganium honestly provides an aura of tranquility that few Pokemon carry. But never count its innocence for weakness, as Meganium is always ready for a battle, to protect its trainer as well as its friend. Number 9, Leafeon. Since Eevee's technically a starter, and he has a fully evolved form for each type, of course that means Leafeon was gonna find his way on this list. And yeah, you can't sleep on Leafeon. This cat-like Pokemon is not just cute and adorable, but also vicious and powerful. When he needs to be, that is. He's very swift and agile, of course, because of his light stature, but sometimes can even fly. Leafeon was an unexpected evolution of Eevee, but I can definitely say on this list, he is a very welcome one. Number 8, Chestnut. Chestnut is the armored buddy ready to help you out of any type of precarious situation you find yourself in. And I definitely love his design utilizing the idea of seeds as armor. And with most of his attacks being naturally able to puncture the defense of his opponents, he is absolutely not a friendly Pokemon you want to get on the bad side of. And it's like this Pokemon carries an older brotherly aura, like where he's very kind and easy to approach, but is very overprotective and will lay you out if you try to harm his friends or his trainer. Either way, Chestnut is stocked. Number 7, Torterra. Torterra is a beast. He's a walking tank on all fours, and ain't no lie, he is a literal force of nature. You might take a gander at this Pokemon thinking his size makes him slow, but then be fully horrified and amazed by how fast this Pokemon can be on his feet when he fully wants to be. And even if he can't, he still has a plethora of grass-type attacks to tangle you up, so he can take his time getting close to you so that he can end it in one heavy attack. Torterra looks cute and fierce at the same time, and not only can he juggle those two aspects, he can juggle you too with the vines he sprouts out of the ground. Basically, to make a long story short, Torterra is just an amazing Pokemon to have. Number 6, Venusaur. Venusaur blooms into battle, being like a Swiss Army knife of vegetative attacks and abilities. We don't know what the heck he is, but I can tell you one thing. Out of most grass-type Pokemon, he's definitely the GOAT. With vines, leaf, and seeds all strapped and ready, I hope you said your prayers, because you're about to get whipped by nature. Being part of the classic OG Gen 1 starters, Venusaur is what you would refer to as an old reliable. A classic, but always there for you. The only reason he ain't higher on this list is because to me, he's very slow. But hey, his vines reach far, so be careful, because he still packs a punch. And I don't know if you're ready yet to get spanked by a vine. Number 5, Meowscarada. The magician Pokemon, Meowscarada is on this list not just because of her swift agility, but her skills in misdirection. Armed to the teeth with plant bombs, you do not want to be caught slipping near this feline. And along with the flair and posing that she enacts in her battles, it shows that Meowscarada not only has style, but has a knack for the dramatics, which keeps things entertaining in my opinion, and everyone can use a little enjoyment on their journey. Number 4, Serperior. Serperior is that regal Pokemon that is one of the ones I like the most because he's so snake-like. It allows him to easily evade most incoming physical attacks. And regality is the perfect word for how this Pokemon looks. Combining the snake-like form for intimidation with a royal-like design really gives this grass-type Pokemon a sense of importance that rivals its abilities. All of this to say, Serperior not only looks cool, but it has the maneuverability to get up close and personal with its enemies while also being able to easily escape them, and has the power to take them down at any given chance. Number 3, Rillaboom. I really like this Pokemon, and I put it way high on this list because it has strength behind its physique. And it's also passionate, looking like a Super Saiyan 3 Pokemon. It's ready for action. And the fact that it carries a drum and its grassy mane made out of bark and wood, with some actual sticks carved out of the same wood to drum out a wicked beat. Yeah, Rillaboom was a creative Pokemon that I believe everything about its design works so well. And don't let me forget to say its Dynamax form is peak entertainment as well. So if you're looking to hype up a crowd while also beating down your enemies, Rillaboom is definitely the Pokemon for you. But there's still better ones in my opinion, which is why he's number 3. Number 2, Decidueye. Decidueye is a grass ghost type Pokemon that I can really get behind. Not only is he based off of one of the coolest character types in any type of adventure story, the Archer, but he is also an owl, so he looks cute and cool, and he can fly, which is always an advantage to have over your enemies. Plus the fact that he can pull out feather arrows out from his wings, and that his wings can be fashioned into a bow to launch said feather arrows. It is Pokemon like Decidueye that is proof that the peak creativity at Pokemon never ends. It never stops. Also, I like how Decidueye can be shy and use his leafy hood to hide away from peering eyes. He's just like me for real for real. Number 1, Sceptile. Sceptile is a reptilian grass type fully evolved Pokemon that's my number 1 because he's always ready to throw down. Being usually calm and composed, he is a very cool Pokemon when not in action. But when hands need to be thrown, he is able to flip the switch in an instant. And don't even get me started on how his Mega Evolution into Mega Sceptile makes him even stronger than he already naturally is. And cooler to boot. How can a grass-type Pokemon have so much swag? It makes no sense. Definitely if I had to pick only 6 to take on a journey out of all Pokemon, Sceptile would be in that chosen few. And I'll have no regrets because when it's down to the wire, I can definitely rely on Sceptile's power. My top 10 fully evolved water-type starter Pokemon. Number 10, Feraligatr. You can't look at this guy and tell me he's not cool looking. This dude looks like a water-type Godzilla. He's basically like having your own blue dinosaur as your right-hand man to resolve any type of problematic tussles you find yourself in. And I'll just say this, he kind of looks like Reptar from Rugrats if he was blue, so that's going high with the nostalgia for me. And he lives up to what he looks like because he's such a savage in a fight. I mean, what was that great line used in one of the Godzilla movies? Let them fight? All of this to say Feraligatr woke up this morning choosing violence, so that's why I chose him. Number 9, Inteleon. I like this Pokemon because he has style and swagger. He's like if a Pokemon, water type of course, fused with Agent 007. He is the secret agent Pokemon after all. But what I like about Inteleon the most, besides how he looks so slim and swaggy, is the water gun aspects of how he shoots water out of his fingertips like a gun, bruh. It works on all levels, symbolically, literally, metaphorically. and adds to his Dynamax form when he goes into a sniper position, with the water taking the form of a sniper rifle. And Inteleon takes no prisoners. If his trainer says you gotta go, then you gotta go. Number 8, Swampert. Swampert, I just really liked his design. It's not just very cat-like, but it does seem like something that would come out of the murky depths of the ocean or swamp. Plus, I love all of his water/mud attacks. And when he Mega Evolves and gets those gains, it's just so cool and savage. Plus, I think Swampert was one of the Pokemon that, when I was watching Pokemon as a Saturday morning cartoon, made me want to have him as my primary water-type Pokemon. I mean, he rides that fine line of still retaining his cuteness even though he's fully evolved, yet holding that cool, distinct look that comes from gaining your final form. Number 7, Samurott. Honestly, this is going to be super easy to explain why Samurott is in my top 10. First off, he's a samurai. He's able to use the shells on his bodies to create energy swords, which he then starts swinging like a swords master. Woocha splash like an aqua samurai. That is such a cool idea that was executed perfectly, not just in how the Pokemon looks, but how it moves and reacts and attacks. A beastly looking Pokemon that walks on all fours, that's able to swim like a seal, that then can transition into standing up straight and fighting sword style like a samurai. It's such a beautiful idea, and it was definitely done right. Number 6, Empoleon, the Emperor Penguin Pokemon. First up, his style is super swaggish. Looking both refined and beastly, this penguin water Pokemon brings a whole new level of prestige to the game. Not just with his water and ice attacks, but with the way he moves. Not being a flying type, but being able to glide through the air with fancy veneer. You better watch yourself if you're underestimating fighting this Pokemon. And I think most of all, as a cherry on top, I really do love the black and white colors with the blue and yellow trimmings. It not only makes Empoleon look good, but allows him to flex on his enemies mentally before even throwing an attack. Number 5, Vaporeon. Now, before y'all even say it, haha, loophole time for Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. Eevee is the starter type Pokemon that you would get. And because Eevee has many final evolutions, each being a different type, it was the way I could make a top 10 water type starters fully evolved Pokemon list by adding it on the list. And boys and girls, does it earn its right to be 5th on this list. As with Vaporeon being able to turn itself into liquid, camouflage, and is small, sleek, and swift, it makes the perfect companion. Honestly, I love all of Eevee's final evolutions, but Vaporeon is high up there. Number 4, Primarina. Primarina is awesome. I'm just saying she's very dazzling and she's kawaii desune, which simply means super cute. But don't start commenting down your freakish thoughts. I ain't into that. We ain't Rule 34 when it comes to furries over here. I just think she looks creative, combining both imagination with elegance, with not just how she appears, but how she acts and attacks, allowing for swift maneuverability, mainly in the water, which makes sense because she is a water type, but also having powerful attacks that make up for her lack of mobility on land. definitely a Pokemon that not only looks good, but pulls her weight. Number 3, Blastoise. Blastoise, when I first saw him, I thought, yo, this is the one. Though there were others that came out after that got a little bit higher, unfortunately, but Blastoise still high up there. I mean, he's a large monster-like turtle with 2 giant water cannons coming out of his shell. Like, yo, that was primo Pokemon. You couldn't get more base than that. And don't even get me started on his Mega Evolution. Having 3 cannons with 2 on his arms like handguns, and a giant one on his back still coming out of his shell like he's a gosh dang cyborg. I mean, even though he was a water type, I always loved Blastoise because he was about the smoke. Number 2, Quaquaval. Nope, this ain't no joke, and neither is Quaquaval. He is stylish, elegant, and knows how to step it up. And it makes sense since Quaxly was stunting on all the other pre-evolved starters with his dazzling hairstyle. Having him be fully evolved, you know he was going to bring the splash. And not only with having Quaquaval around as your companion, you could have your own personal performer. You know, a Pokemon to bring to parties to entertain the masses. But just like most Pokemon, they can also act as a bodyguard. And since most trainers are gonna underestimate this looker of a water type, this gives you an advantage when your Quaquaval kicks them upside the head and starts dancing on their unconscious body. Honestly, no Pokemon does peacocking better than Quaquaval. Number 1, Greninja. If y'all didn't see this coming, shame on you. Cause Greninja may be based off a frog, but he's the absolute GOAT! With style and swagger, flair and ferocity. He literally embodies what it means to be a water shinobi. And don't even get me started on Ash Greninja. When Ash and his Greninja got in perfect sync to unleash a power like none ever seen before. And I'm serious when I say this. It not just blew me away with its spectacle, but confirmed Greninja's placement on this list. And I'll say it, I might be a little biased. Greninja was my main in Super Smash Bros. But hey, if it was good enough for Sakurai, it's great enough for me. That's why Greninja is number 1. Top 10 fully evolved fire starter Pokemon. Number 10, Flareon. Now, to quickly nip it in the bud, yes, Flareon is technically a starter since in Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, Eevee is confirmed to be a starter Pokemon. Now, with that aside, even though I think he is indeed kawaii desune and he spits out fire, he's just not bringing the level of power and ferocity I look for in a top starter. But he still looks cute. Number 9, Typhlosion. Typhlosion is honestly a slept-on fire starter, but I'm definitely having good dreams about this one. All I can say about this one is that he brings the heat in heated battles, but he still brings a high level of cuteness and ferocity hand in hand. And I do like, as a cherry on top, how his Histonian region is part ghost type. I love the blaze that he carries around his neck to ultimately show he's fired up.
Number 8, Ambor. Ambor is one big heavy combatant with those 2 heavy logs he call arms to put on the fire to make things hotter. Even though he's low on the list, he's still top 10 because he is an impressive fighter. Filled with much stamina and durability, this big pig is ready to take on any foe that's much stronger or bigger than he is. And with the fire output he's able to produce in battle, you definitely gotta bet on this hog. He can throw his weight around like a sumo wrestler, with hitting his enemies with fierce speed and precision. He's very loyal and will stick by your side through almost anything. And with all these pros and pluses, this is why I have Ambor at number 8. Only wish I could have put him higher. On number 7, Delphox. Delphox is a really cool one because she has high octane firepower for any type of heated battle that is presented before her. Her flamethrowers go wild, her mythical fire be blazing. She can torch up, burn up, and fry any obstacle that's foolish enough to stand in front of her, and look dazzling while doing so. This is why she's number 7. She's an absolute delight to watch.
Number 6, Skeledirge. Now, we haven't seen much of this reptile guy, but I'll say this for sure. He is fearsome looking. From gameplay, he definitely has some good attacks on him. And I love the idea of a fire ghost type. How he has a living bird flame on his nose that he just sends out to attack people with. I'm a big fan of crocs and alligators as well, so the design is definitely top tier for me. And I can't wait to see him floss on other Pokemon in the anime. But I didn't put him where he is because we haven't seen much of him. I put him there at 6 because the other Pokemon on this list are that much better. Trust. Number 5, Incineroar. This fire dark type Pokemon is a champion when it comes to bringing the smackdown. And I won't lie, at first I really didn't dig Incineroar's design. Felt like it came out a little bit out of left field, especially with his previous evolutions. But every time I saw Incineroar drop a whole heap of hurt on other Pokemon and his adversaries, I realized that this was the form he was meant to have, to be the champion Pokemon that he is. They even brought him in Smash because of how good he was at bringing the pain. His Dark Lariat is fierce, his Flaming Champion belt is hot, and the dark red color of his fur really does add to the menacing, intimidating aura that Incineroar is famous for. Number 4, Infernape. Now, I don't know what it is with fire types, but Infernape's one of those Pokemon that proves that they have an even greater set of combats than even fighting types. Now, don't get me wrong, he's a fun Pokemon to have around, but when he's in a fight, he always acts like he woke up choosing violence. Whether it be his Mach punches or his overheat attack, he always brings double the effort and double the burn. This Primate is definitely a primary Pokemon to have, which is why I can definitely see him being a starter. Cause it'll take a true trainer who ain't afraid of the heat to raise him up to his prime level. Plus, I just really think he looks so epic. The white with the yellow and red and orange? Just simply fantastic. Got me fired up. Number 3, Cinderace. Now, Cinderace might be number 3, but he's still a number 1 fire shooting Pokemon. He goes for the goal no matter what he's doing. A top beast of an athlete. Plus, I am just adoring the design, and I'm not a furry. The way Cinderace looks just looks so hype, like he's full of energy and he's ready to go at full force, while also bringing that heavy dose of cutesy look that Pokemon are also known for. But I just love the creative way of how he produces his fiery attacks, making it similar to just shooting a soccer ball, as soccer is what inspired this Pokemon's form in the first place. And his Gigantamax form was awesome, and it honestly is the cherry on top of this Pokemon. Number 2, Blaziken. Blaziken? Now, that Pokemon is a fighter. This Pokemon looks like a superhero. This combatant, this fighter, can take on the best of Pokemon and still keep on kicking. And his fire output is just as impressive as his fighting capabilities. And don't even get me started on his Mega Evolution. As Mega Blaziken, he looks sleeker, while also having an extra boost to his already impeccable speed and strength. And again, his insane fire output is now boosted out the wazoo. So of course I had to put him at number 2. The only reason he ain't standing at the top of the hill is because number 1's that much greater, but hey, he's still close by it. Number 1, Charizard. No duh. Of course Charizard was going to be number 1. But at least let me explain to make it clearer. To the fact that Charizard's one of the rare Pokemon that has 2 Mega Evolutions, with Charizard X and Charizard Y both being beasts of a power-up form, and the fact that you can add on Z-moves, terrestrialization, and even Gigantamaxing? I don't know how the heck Charizard isn't considered a legendary Pokemon with everything he has to beef up his already insane power. But even if Charizards go the rest of their days without ever being considered a legendary, I'll at least consider them one. Number 1 on the top 10 list of fire starters.